Hi, welcome back to Reads and Threads. If this is your first time here, my name is Kate. Today I'm going to be talking about my reads in 2024. So I thought this would be a good time to run through everything I've read this year, what I liked, what I didn't like. You can get to know the kind of things that I like to read, and then hopefully you will leave me a comment with all your favourite 2024 reads as well. So this year I've finished 40 books. I didn't have the best reading year overall. There were a couple of months that I literally didn't read a single thing. I think I was just burnt out over most things. Couldn't find a book that really grabbed my attention for a couple of months until I got back to it in about mid-year. But of those 40 books, I think I read around 17,762 pages, which averages out at about 48 pages per day over the year, which is, I think, pretty good. I'll put the covers up for all of the books that I don't physically have. A lot of them I have either listened to on audio or borrowed them from my local library. I did DNF 6 books in total this year. The first one being The Psalm for the Wild Built by Becky Chambers. It just, even though it was short, it just really wasn't for me. I don't know what it was about that book that really didn't grab my attention. I didn't get very far into it at all before I put it down. If you don't know what it's about a robot, I think, that has an existential crisis, I guess, and goes off to live in the woods or something. I literally have no idea. It wasn't one that I picked myself. I do have a book group with my friends, and each month we get to pick a book for the others to read. This was one that one of them had picked. Yeah, it got me at the wrong time, or just really wasn't my kind of book. So I did DNF that one. The next book that I DNF'd was Everyone in My Family Has Killed Someone by Benjamin Stevenson. I do think I probably could have really enjoyed this book. I will admit this really was bad timing. I ended up going to Japan at the end of March, the beginning of April for the first time, and it was right around then that I was actually reading or attempting to read this book. And I had borrowed it from my library and it had to go back straight after I think I got back from holiday. I did intend to read it while I was away, but that didn't happen. There was just too much going on at my holiday. So when it did expire and have to go back from my loan, I just let it go. And I will admit I didn't even consider picking it back up. So although it is probably a really good book, maybe didn't give it enough of a chance. I don't tend to, though, once I have stopped reading a book, try and read them again. Unless I'm in the middle of a series and it's a really thick book. This one is very out of my comfort zone. I don't read a lot of crime. Maybe one day I will give it another go, but for now it is a DNF. Again, that was another book that was part of my book group that one of my friends picked. I have seen a lot of other booktubers really enjoy it. It just, at this stage, isn't for me. The next one I DNF'd was called Yellow Face by Rebecca F. Kwong. I got halfway through this book. I really gave it a good go. I was listening to the audio and I think by halfway, I just really didn't care. I really wasn't enjoying myself. It's about a woman who is an author who hasn't had much luck in any of her publications, but is friends with another woman that she met at college who has pretty much just gone viral. Everything she releases is a bestseller. She's got the apartment in New York City. She's got all the nicest clothes, and our original main character is pretty much just jealous of her. And her friend unexpectedly dies, and she takes this woman's manuscript and releases it herself. And it is obviously then an awesome relief. She gets all the popularity, but is constantly worried that she's going to get found out, that she isn't the original author. And one morally grey, I didn't like the plagiarism side of it, I guess. It really wasn't for me. I don't know if it's just this author's writing style that I couldn't get into. I have heard from a lot of other booktubers some of her other works that have been extremely popular. She does have a fantasy series as well, I think, and maybe that's the Poppy War. Maybe I would do better with that, but it has also put me off potentially trying that because I dislike this one so much. So that was a very big, strong DNF. I was not having that book at all. The next one I DNF'd was The Toll by Neil Shusterman. I had read the previous two in this series, so Scythe and Thunderhead, this year as well, and really did quite enjoy them. Again, Scythe was a book group pick for my in real life book group, and I did enjoy it. I had a really good time reading that one. I think I gave it 4 stars. I was eager to get into the second one, and it was in the second one where I started to get a bit let down. I was starting not to care. I was finding the pacing really hard. I just was really losing interest. There was nothing happening. I hated with a vengeance the character you were meant to hate. Just everything about it I was struggling with. When I got to The Toll, it got even worse. So I was reading some other books at the same time, and this one I decided halfway through that, again, I didn't care how it ended. I didn't care if the two main characters may manage to get their happy ever after, I guess, like to successfully overthrow the evil overlord type character. I have seen that other people really do enjoy this series. I have seen it on a lot of people's bookshelves. I just think that this one, again, although the first book was really great, I just didn't enjoy the ending. The next one that I DNF'd was another book group book. It was called Once There Were Wolves by Charlotte McConaughey. I didn't get very far into this one. I was thinking I wouldn't mind it. It's about a woman who is reintroducing wolves into the Highlands of Scotland. I think the thing that let it down for me right at the beginning was she has the ability to apparently feel what other people are feeling. And it just seemed a bit too way out there. I couldn't get on board with this. It got to one point where it was flashing back to her as a child, and she was feeling this teenager's feelings, and I was just like, yep, no, I'm out. It was a very sexualized scene. In my head, I just was eked out by it. It grossed me out, and I was just like, yep, no, I'm putting this one down. It's really not very good. The last book I DNF'd was actually a collection of short stories. Now, I did read the Red Queen series this year. I listened to them all on audio. I really enjoyed them. I gave all of them but one 4 stars. I think I gave one 3.5, mainly because Mare annoyed me, the main character. I find a lot of the main characters in novels, especially teen novels, frustrating. I try not to let that take out my enjoyment of the overall story, because some of the stories are awesome. I really do think that they do sometimes have the best settings, the best ideas, the plot moves fast, and I was really enjoying it. I was fully behind her getting together with, I think his name is Cal, the main prince. I really liked his character. I hated Melvin. You were meant to hate Melvin. He was creepy and disgusting. I kind of got a bit of a weird vibe off him in the first book anyway, but I got to this standalone book collection called Broken Thrones, and it felt like a history textbook, like I was back in high school, and there was no enjoyment at all. I don't even know that I actually got to the 2 main extra stories in it. The first part that I was listening to was just the uncle of the prince giving us a history lesson of all the kings of this realm. And I was just like, I don't care. It was unnecessary. And I think if you're gonna read the Red Queen series, leave it out. You don't need it. So I think the main collection of stories, Red Queen, Glass Sword, King's Cage, and War Storm, definitely, they are a great time. Give them a go, but I would definitely miss off Broken Thrones. It's not worth it. So this year I started and fully finished 5 series in total. The first at the beginning of the year was the Defy the Night series by Bridget Kemmerer. So that's made up of Defy the Night, Defend the Dawn, and Destroy the Day. I did really enjoy this series. I read the first 2 at the very beginning of the year. They were already out. I gave them both 5 stars. If you don't know, this is a story about 2 brothers that have been thrust into ruling at a very young age after the assassination of their parents, and then an apothecary who is trying to help the people by distributing medicine that they so sorely need, thinking that the royals don't care and that they are hoarding what little medicine they do have instead of distributing it to their people. And the whole series goes through them figuring out how to hopefully cure the sickness that is plaguing their people and trying to stop a growing rebellion to overthrow the royals. All in all, I had a really great time. I do really enjoy Bridget Kemmerer. This is another teen series. I think this is a really good time if you like a fantasy series. The audio is extremely well done. It has multiple narrators. And I think I really do enjoy that, where there is a multicast and you get each character has their own narrator. I really love that. The next series that I read were by Amy Kaufman and Megan Spooner. They were the Unearthed duology. I have read other series by these authors together and did really enjoy them. Again, I listened to the audio. They use the multicast. I find them more engaging that way. I've always found sci-fi easier to read via audio. This series, though, was probably the worst of the ones that I've read from her. I did only give them 2 stars, though I did manage to get through them. They weren't the best. And of their series together, this would not be the first ones that I would check out. In the last couple of months, I have finished another of their duologies, which is The Other Side of the Sky. I did, again, find this one enjoyable. It was probably only about a 3 to 3.5 stars in the end. The story was good. It wasn't exceptional. It was an easy time, a good listen. If you don't know what this series is about, it is about 2 cities that have separated. So one is currently floating in the sky and the other one is down set on the Earth. Not on our Earth, on a different Earth, different planet, but set on the ground, I guess. The one set on the ground has magic. It believes in gods and goddesses, and it believes that their gods have ascended to the sky, and so that the people in the sky are actually their gods. The people in the sky are very technology based. They think that there is no one alive on the ground anymore, that when they ascended, everyone perished. So it turns out our main male character falls to the ground. He is also the prince of the Sky City, and he meets the goddess on Earth. So there is one goddess who was left behind when they ascended, and she is considered divine. So they meet. She thinks he's prophesized to help her destroy the world and bring peace and prosperity to her people. I did quite enjoy it. Again, the audios were done very well, multi-characters, that kind of thing. It is a good read, but go into it for me, it was a mid-read. This year, I also completed one of my most anticipated reads, the conclusion of Sarah J. Maas's Crescent City series, The House of Flame and Shadow. Originally, I had given this 5 stars when I rated it, and upon thinking about it, it is definitely not a 5-star read. I dislike the main 2 characters, Bryce and Hunt. I found them extremely annoying by the second book. I found the extra characters a lot more interesting. I liked the world. I liked the integration with her other series, that kind of thing. But a lot of the story, in retrospect, it's not a 5-star. I did still enjoy reading it. Again, I listened to it. But if I was to rate it again now, I definitely would probably only give it a 3.5 to 4 maybe. I do think I am probably a bit too liberal with my stars when I'm giving them out. I'm trying to get a bit pickier, I guess, about what I do give 5 stars and really think about how much I did enjoy it. I think that for me, getting a 5-star, I have to not want to put it down. It has to be something that I just continuously want to read, and I mainly just give stars on enjoyment level. If a book just drawn me in, I just can't handle not reading it, that's going to get 5 stars. And this year, the ones that really did that for me were the Bridgerton series. Like I said, I had a couple of months where I didn't read anything. And in the beginning of June, I think, just after season 3 of the TV show came out, I picked up The Duke and I for the first time. I had owned this book for years, but never read it. And then just thought, you know what, I'm just going to give it a go. And I sped through all 8 books. I had such a great time. I read them on ebook. I just absolutely loved the whole lot. Now, are they the best written books? Probably no. Were they an awesome time and I was fully engrossed and didn't want to stop reading? Yes. So all 8 of these books, I gave 5 stars to. I moved so quickly from one to the other. And I think if you haven't given them a go yet, definitely do. I think by now everyone knows what they're about. They are an historical romance series. And if you go into it just expecting a good time and actually really decent writing, I really enjoyed the quality of Julia Quinn's writing. It has made me want to read some of her others, so I probably will add some of her other books to my to be read list. I haven't at this stage, but just thinking about that, I definitely will. I do want to pick more of her stuff up. So I think in the future, we will definitely see more of me reading Julia Quinn. The last series that I did start and finish off, like I said earlier, was the Red Queen series. I won't talk too much about it now because I did mention the majority of my thoughts at the beginning. I did really enjoy it. Again, audio versions were great. I found them really easy to listen to. I have got those all on Audible. Again, just give them a go. They are a great teen series. If you haven't picked them up yet, I would highly recommend. One of my favorite authors is Nora Roberts. I got onto her a few years ago now, or God, probably even more like 10 years ago. I started with her fantasy series. I always used to think that she was a very Mills and Boon author. I wouldn't enjoy her at all. And I've picked up the first series I think I picked up of hers was Morrigan's Cross and really, really loved it. You can see that she does write to a bit of a formula. So mostly I can expect a sex scene at this page, something else to happen by this page. Generally her characters will end up together at the end. And in some ways I do like the formula. I like knowing what to expect. But I also think she does do a lot of research into her books. I have read a lot of her standalone crime ones, a lot of her trilogies, and just really enjoyed finding out new and interesting things that I didn't know about to begin with. The one I read this year was Shelter in Place. I do own a lot of Nora Roberts. This is the one author that, again, I love her covers. These are the Piaticus collection that we get here, and I just really, really love the covers. I did really enjoy this one. I actually picked this book for my book group to read, so this was my choice this year, and I just had a really good time. I gave it 4 stars. It's about a shooting in America in a mall. The 2 main characters both managed to live through the experience and then just how it affected them. It's over 10 years later and the 2 main characters meet, and this story is about someone killing the survivors. So there is a lot of mystery, tension, as the main male character, Reed, who has become a policeman since this experience as a teenager, tries to track down who is murdering the survivors. All in all, a really good read. I did quite enjoy the ending. Again, I like that the characters generally end up together. I like her writing style. It's an easy read, but a really good quality read. One of the other books I read this year was a debut by a YouTuber I actually watched a lot of called Adam Hattan. He released a book called Hiding Him. It's about a young gay man really getting his first boyfriend. I quite enjoyed the story. It's set in England. I think overall I gave it 4 stars. I do enjoy watching Adam's YouTube videos. I find them lots of fun. I'm very into Disney myself, so I enjoyed his content. And I do think for a first book, it was a really good one. So if you haven't checked it out, I think you would really enjoy it. Another one I picked up this year was The Secret Life of Shirley Sullivan by Lisa Island. This is just a general book. Again, it was one of my book group's books. It's set in New South Wales in Australia about a woman, Shirley, and her husband who is suffering from dementia. He has since been put into a facility and she just thinks it's slowly killing him. She thinks that she can look after him better, try and help him remember and take him back to where they met and hopefully give him a really good day. So she breaks him out of the facility that he is in and they go on a road trip. It overall was a really sweet, nice, entertaining book. I gave it 3 stars. I did enjoy it. I wouldn't necessarily pick it up again, but it is definitely a really nice read. The next series that I started this year was Poison Study by Maria V. Schneider. I've had these books on my shelf for years and never got around to reading them. That is one of my goals, is to read some of the books that I have owned for an extremely long time and never gotten to. I did quite enjoy this book. I think overall I have given it 4 stars. I don't know what this story is about. It follows Yelena. She's given the opportunity to become the commander's taste tester. When she is given this opportunity, she then has to work extremely closely with Valak, the commander's assassin. It is a rule within the society that the next person to be assassinated is going to become the taste tester. So Yelena is actually in the commander's dungeons for murdering the son of one of the commander's generals. Now, when this all happens, the general, of course, is extremely upset that she will not be put to death. And then his guards attempt to actually kill her throughout the course of the novel. While this is happening, she is actually getting to know a lot of the people that live in the castle, a couple of the guards, the kitchen staff, and actually finally starting to make friends and learn more about herself, along with the fact that she possibly has the ability to do magic, which in this province of the world is actually outlawed. That is what Valak was essentially doing. He was assassinating all of the magicians that previously were under the rule of the king. So if you are found to be able to do magic, you are assassinated. So Yelena is extremely nervous that she's going to be found out to have the ability to do magic. Over the course of the book, she does become closer with Valak, though that is meant to be a prominent romantic relationship. I didn't really feel the connection between those two. I think actually their relationship develops better to the second book, Magic Study, than it does in this one. Though he is intriguing, I didn't really feel like she was fully in love with him. She was more nervous of him through the whole thing rather than really wanting to get together with him. Interesting read. I gave it 4 stars. I do think that it's a good first story. The next book in the series that I managed to finish was Magic Study. Again, we're still following Yelena's journey, as well as Valak, the commander's assassin, and we do get introduced to the magicians of the south in this story, which I thought was a bit more interesting, as well as trying to find a serial killer. Overall, this one wasn't probably as good as the first one, and I have heard that the third one deteriorates even more. However, I will still probably be picking that up in 2025. I don't like keeping too much of a gap between series when I'm reading them, mainly because I forget what's going on and feel like I would then have to reread everything. So hopefully at the beginning of next year, I will pick up the third one and be able to finish the original trilogy, though I do own at least 6 books that I feel like are the first one. I'll have to look into that a bit more. One series that I am attempting to complete is The Wheel of Time by Robert Jordan. I have again owned this for an extremely long time, to the point where I had original illustrated covers of this series and then scoured the bookshops until I found all the black ones. They have since now been re-released in new covers again. This is a quintessential fantasy series. It is one of the backbones of the fantasy genre as a whole, I think. It is a really good time. Did I physically read this book this year? No. But Rosamund Pike is redoing the audio, and it is an epic experience. If you haven't listened to the Rosamund Pike versions of The Wheel of Time, the first 4 books she's done now, it is definitely well worth a go. I could not stand the audio, original audio by Michael Kramer and Kate Redding. I don't know why everyone is so obsessed with it. I find his voice so monotone. I cannot get more than 5 minutes into it. It's like he doesn't know when a sentence stops or when to put emphasis on it. Her rendition is just amazing. She's obviously a theatre trained actress. She is just so good with the voices. If you haven't checked out the first 4 of these books, I would definitely recommend doing it. I am technically rereading these ones as she releases them. I haven't ever finished the series. I am up to the second to last book. So I have hit the section where Brandon Sanderson has taken over. I haven't managed to finish it. So I'm currently halfway through Towers of Midnight, and I put it down and now I don't remember what is happening. So I think I will have to go back to the beginning of that book and start again. One, because I didn't put a bookmark in my book, so I don't remember where I was up to. And whatever version I was actually reading it on hasn't remembered where I was up to either. So even if I wanted to pick that one back up where I actually had left off, I wouldn't be able to. So that is one of my goals, which I'll go through in another video. I do think I want to try and finish that series off next year and officially say that I have read The Wheel of Time. Again, one of the book group books that I was given to read this year was The Lost Bookshop by Evie Woods. I can't say I had the best time with this book. It was okay. Even though I read a lot of fantasy, which generally has multiple perspectives, this one I struggled with. There were 3 main characters. They would change the chapters to a different character, and it was always in the same order, but for some reason I would forget who I was reading about. I just found as well, again, this is the whole magical realism thing. I don't think it's for me. This bookshop would appear and disappear, and 2 of the perspectives were in actual general day, and then 1 was set back in the past. And what happened to the main character in the past was atrocious and is devastating in all. The things that she had to go through and overcome were sad. And then again, it's set in Dublin with Martha, who's just gotten out of an abusive relationship. So she's extremely scared, doesn't trust anyone, and is trying to make a go of it. And when she comes across Henry, he's gone to Dublin to find the lost bookshop, and then they meet in the process of this, and she decides to help him begrudgingly, even though she just wants to be left alone. All in all, it was an okay read. General, again, either hit or miss me. I don't think there's very many that I've really loved. And like I said, I don't think magical realism is for me. So I gave this a 3.5 star. It was okay. I don't know that it would make me want to pick up any of her other books. I then jumped on the bandwagon of the TikTok sensation that is the Pumpkin Spice Cafe and its follow-up, the Cinnamon Bun Bookstore. Again, romance, other than Nora Roberts, I haven't really gone into much. These were okay. I don't know that I like the insta love thing. It seems like they know each other for 2 seconds and they're madly in love. The sex scenes were okay. The story is wholesome, and for some reason I can't stop reading them. I am currently reading The Christmas Tree Farm, which will be my last read for 2024. And I have got the Strawberry Patch book that's coming out next year on my to-read list, but overall they're very mediocre. I think I gave the Pumpkin Spice Cafe 3. The Cinnamon Bun Bookshop wasn't as good. That only got a 2. And I'm not overly really liking Kira as a main character in The Christmas Tree Farm. I find her a little too gruff. I think, is what's wrong. Like, she's just too defensive, too rude. And I know there are people like that, but yeah. I did do a short quick read of Lynette Noni's Caldaris, which is just a little add-on story from her Arcane series. I read that last year and really enjoyed listening to it. This was really short, sharp and shiny. It was a sweet little story. Didn't take me long at all. Again, I listened to it on audio, quite enjoyed it. Overall, I gave it 3.5 stars. I don't know that it's the necessary addition, but if you want to jump back into the world of Arcane, this is a good little pickup. After putting it off for literal years, I did finally read Fourth Wing and Iron Flame this year. My sister was bugging me endlessly to listen to it so that she could talk to me about it. And I was like, no, I don't read series until they're fully out, but I caved and I really enjoyed them. I gave both of them 5 stars. I did think Iron Flame wasn't as good as Fourth Wing, but still extremely enjoyable. I like where it left off. I'm extremely excited to read Onyx Storm when it comes out in January, and that is definitely going to be on my TBR. Overall, if you haven't jumped on the bandwagon because you're nervous of all the hype, which does a lot of the time put me off reading a book, definitely give it a go. I don't think you'll be disappointed. I really enjoyed it. It's a good fantasy read, great characters, great plots. My favorite are the dragons. They are the best characters in the whole book. Their lines are amazing. She's done a really good job with these stories. I think these are a really good read. I definitely would recommend picking them up. If you haven't already, give them a go. Try to keep your expectations low, and then hopefully you'll be surprised. I really enjoy them. I'm hoping Onyx Storms lives up to the other 2. At the end of November, I got the opportunity to pick another book group book, and this time I chose The Crimson Moth by Kristen Cicerelli. I was really looking forward to reading this. I had heard a lot about it on BookTube. I got really excited and just really wanted to get everyone else in my book group to read it. I really enjoyed it. I gave it 4.5 stars. I think it was a great read. Our main characters in this book are Rune and Gideon. One is a witch, the other is a witch hunter. They do enter into a fake dating kind of situation where one is trying to outwit the other and learn information. Rune is our witch. She is attempting to help liberate witches that have been captured, and at night will become the Crimson Moth. Gideon is the captain of the witch hunters. He's attempting to locate and capture and put to death all of the witches in the world. He has an inkling that Rune could possibly be the Crimson Moth, but can't prove it. And Rune is attempting to get information on the location of a witch that has recently been captured and try and liberate her. In the process, they obviously start to have feelings for each other. It's just a really epic journey. It's great fun. Lots of plot, intrigue and twists. I did see one of the twists coming, but it didn't take away the enjoyment that I had for this book. If you haven't already checked it out, I do highly recommend it, and I really can't wait for the last installment, which comes out in February, The Rebel Witch. I then deviated off into a non-fiction. I really love watching Miranda Hart in her TV show Miranda. She's a British comedian. I really enjoyed listening to Peggy and Me, and her other one, Is It Just Me? The one that I listened to this year was I Haven't Been Completely Honest With You. Going into it, I didn't realize it was more self-helpy, like it's her coming to terms with a long-term illness and what she's gotten out of that whole process as she's dealt with that. I do still find her hilarious. Even with this topic, she just comes out with the funniest lines and it just makes me want to watch the TV show all over again. If you haven't checked out Miranda the TV show, highly recommend it. Great British humor. This book is good. I think I gave it 4 stars. I did enjoy listening to her. She makes even the topic entertaining. Do I generally like non-fiction self-help books? No. If I do read a non-fiction, it's more of biography, which is the only reason that I picked this up. And because I had read some of her others, I thought it would be a good time. I did enjoy it. If you like Miranda, definitely give it a go. It is quite a good listen. The next book I read was The Spell Shop by Sarah Beth Durst. I really enjoyed this one. I gave it 4 stars. It is a very cozy fantasy. It's an easy time. It's just quaint. I really enjoyed it. It was a good storyline. Our main character, Keela, has escaped the fire of a great library with a whole heap of spell books that are technically outlawed in use if you're not a sorcerer. She goes to hide on a little island of Coultry where she was born but hasn't been since she was 9. And there she starts to interact with all the local villagers while trying to hide the fact that she has illegal spell books. It just overall is a really good crazy fantasy read. Definitely recommend picking it up. Then after talking to some of my co-workers, I really just wanted, as we got closer to Christmas, to try a Christmas read for the first time in a while. I wanted a really good romance. After reading The Pumpkin Spice Cafe and realizing that I didn't really love Insta-love, I wanted something that was a slower burn, but someone that also was a really good author. She recommended picking up The Christmas Bookshop by Jenny Colgan. So I did give this one a go. I did enjoy it. I again gave it 3.5 stars. I don't know that I was really fully on board with the romance in it. I did like the bookshop in general. Again, I found the main character annoying. She is very woe is me. Everything is always against her. Yet a lot of it is from her own doing. The interactions between the sisters was okay. I liked her interactions with the kids in the end. Her sister has 3 children that she doesn't really know. A lot of the characters though were a bit meh. Overall, I'm not deterred to pick up the other one in this series. It's just a duology, I think. And it's called Midnight at the Christmas Bookshop. So I will probably wait now till next year. I think after The Christmas Tree Farm, when I finish that off, that'll be my last Christmas read of this year. But I have really enjoyed picking up a few in the Christmas season. And I have managed to get a couple of recommendations for new ones for next year. So hopefully next year, in December, we can do a whole range of Christmas reading and really see if we can find some good ones. Overall, I think I had a pretty good year reading. I really did enjoy a lot of the books that I read. I found heaps of 5-star reads, which I am extremely happy about. And it just got me really back into reading. The Bridgerton series just set it off and I just continued on from there. I also started watching BookTube for the first time at the end of August, beginning of September, and am now so hooked. I have subscribed to so many booktubers and I'm really enjoying as their videos come out, and just all the book recommendations that I've got since then. My Goodreads to read list is going insane. It's been really great chatting with you. Hopefully you've had some great reads in 2024. If you want to comment below, I would love to hear what your favorite ones. Like I said, my Goodreads needs adding to. It's only 573 to read books at the moment, so it definitely needs to increase. Any that didn't go well for you, I'd be interested in having a chat about that. If you like this video, please hit the like button. I hope you're wanting to stick around and are willing to subscribe to my channel. I'm looking at bringing out content weekly at this stage and then hopefully increasing it as the year goes on. But for now, that's it from me. Thank you for joining my little corner of the internet.